What's up, Jets fans? Welcome to the latest edition of Jets Latest, where you get the latest on the Jets, Jets. I'm your host, the spitting statistician Dane Martinez, and we continue to want to talk about what we are seeing in training camp, what people are saying at training camp, and what that means for the 2025 green and white, the New York Jets. Now, there have definitely been certain themes we have talked about here on Jets Latest, right? One is what I think is a much improved offensive line. Another is how we have been intentional with what we want to have in the building as a culture. And obviously, this idea of that the Jets roster is actually better than a lot of people think. There are legitimate Pro Bowlers on many position groups for the Jets, whether it's the offensive line, the wide receiver room, in the secondary, on the defensive line, in the linebacker squad. There are literally Pro Bowlers on all of those position groups. And then we see if we take a step forward in a couple of other areas. But one of the things I've been talking about the most here is really how excited I am, how excited the organization, the fan base, and even people outside of the organization are about Aaron Glenn, our new head coach. And it seems like he's really trying to instill discipline, pride, kind of a toughness, a versatility, a smart football IQ. But a thing that is really important to me is that Aaron Glenn wanted this job. Aaron Glenn is a former Jet Pro Bowler himself, wanted to be part of this turnaround. Shout out to Sharon McLean, who calls it the Glennaissance here on Jets Latest. And it hit him. He said during the kind of green and white practice where fans were there chanting the Jets, Jets, that it really hit him. Check this out. He says, "Today was the first day it really hit me. It hit me when the fans did the Jets chant. It hit me pretty hard, and I am so thankful to this organization for giving me a shot, and thankful to this organization for giving me my second shot at becoming a coach. I don't know why, but it hit me, and it hit me pretty hard." To me, and these are things that are soft, you don't necessarily see, but that is bringing a sense of pride in here. It showed up again in practice earlier in the week in another different way. Now, all of a sudden, a lot of former Jets are showing up. Braylon Edwards has been there a bunch. Guys like from the old guard, Kevin Mawai, Ray Mickens, Wayne Corbett was at practice the other day, Jason Fabini, Glenn Foley, and others, right? And I think that helps. James Hasty, for goodness sakes, right? That helps build a culture, shows the players that are there that this is something we do need to be proud of, that we are carrying kind of a legacy. Because, if you are a new Jet, if you were signed in free agency, if you just drafted, maybe you think of the Jets the way they've been portrayed in the media for the last decade and a half, right? Almost as a kind of laughing stock. But no, you're going to have these guys there on the sideline and they're going to be telling their old war stories. I think that is important as well. And I really believe that Aaron Glenn, kind of one of our former Pro Bowlers, being there as the head man influences some of these guys like a Kevin Mawai, like a James Hasty, like an Adrian Morrell who was at camp. And if you are a longtime Jets fan, that's part of what you want to see, right? Forget about this all gas, no break. You want to see Wayne Corbett there, Adrian Morrell there, James Hasty there, right? And kind of showing the newest members of the green and white some pride for being part of the Jets. So that's just another way that Aaron Glenn bleeds green. And I'm talking about being optimistic. I'm talking about showing pride. But I got to tell you, once again, the sports betting markets do not have faith in the Jets. So if you're down with Jets Latest and you want to be optimistic about a turnaround, there is opportunity here. I've talked about the season win total for the Jets, but another place where I think there is opportunity is in the season-long props around Justin Fields specifically, right? Now, a lot of people are talking about maybe in the pass game, but you can't deny him in the run game. And quite frankly, a lot of the books, especially DraftKings, have set these numbers way too low. Check this out. The season-long passing prop for Justin Fields this year is 2,550 yards. Last year in his 6 games, he threw for 1,100 yards. That's a pace for around 3,134 yards in 17 games. It'll almost 600 yards more than what they are setting the number at. Of course, if he gets injured, things could be all different. But listen, in just 13 starts back for the Bears, when he was thought of as not being good, right? He threw for 2,562 yards. That would be over this number with a Bears offense, and that he only had 13 starts for. And it's even more ridiculous, in my opinion, in the rushing prop. They're setting it at 650 yards. Last year, Fields in his 6 starts ran for 289 yards. That's a pace for over 800 yards in the season, which should be more of a normal number. That's around the number they're putting up for Lamar Jackson. But check this out. Last year, And the last time he was a full-time starter in 13 starts for the Bears, he ran for 657. Again, over this number in only 13 games. Last time he started a full season with 2022 Bears, 1,143 yards. So plenty of ways to play it if you have optimism around the Jets. But quite frankly, not only the win total, but the season props on Justin Fields. If he is in fact healthy and our QB1 the entire time, I know there was the toe scare, but by all accounts, he is just fine. I think those are also ways, if you want to have your money sitting in escrow for about 4 months, that you can kind of bet, take some pride, have some confidence in the Jets, because I think that rushing number is far too low. And quite frankly, with the development we've seen in the pass game, I think that passing number is a little bit too low as well. But let's talk about that running element again. Someone who was on the mic talking about it is his center, Joe Tippmann. Joe Tippmann, remember, was out of Wisconsin, has never been in Green Bay with guys like Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers before that. He has never really had a true dual threat quarterback, and he sees a night and day difference for what that could mean for the organization. Once again, honing in on how Fields' running ability adds this element, adds this excitement, which Jets fans have truly never seen as a part of this offense. Check it out. He goes, for me, I've never really played with a QB that can play with his legs. You know, coming from Wisconsin, it was pocket passer, drop back. So finally get to play with someone like that. It's great. It's super exciting just to see what he can do with his legs and just the way it opens up the entire offense. It's night and day difference, and I'm excited about it. And Joe Tippmann has been successful, right? Last year, only allowed 5 sacks, 23 pressures, had a really good 97 plus PFF grade, was in the 7th spot as far as PFF among centers. And also, you may have heard, listen, Josh Myers, field center from Ohio State, has been signed. They're talking about that they could be a competition there. But the other part I'll talk about this is the versatility, right? John Simpson has been down for a little while, and they're moving Myers and Tippmann to play guard as well. And that may have to happen if there's an injury on the offensive line. So even practicing with some of that versatility is helpful there for the interior offensive line. And it's also good to know Tippmann at the mic talking about this, other people at the mic talking about Fields' dual threat nature, again, helps me feel that he's over that toe injury and is really back to being his old self. I'm telling you right now, bet the season-long rushing prop for Justin Fields. So that'll do it for this episode here of Jets Latest. I really think Fields and that run game is something we have never seen as Jets fans. We saw it even in scrimmages and practices. It's going to be really helpful when the offense is stymied a little bit, that can be part of what we do. This run game is going to be going from 31st in the NFL last year, I think, to a top 5, a top 7 run offense. And I think the passing game will continue to come along. Remember, it's not about that wide receiver too. Josh Reynolds is going to be a serviceable veteran. Mason Taylor, Breece Hall are going to be big-time options in the pass game. And of course, there is Garrett Wilson, all right? So tell a friend to tell a friend, watch these videos, subscribe to the channel. I will be here every single day, and we continue to hear more from you guys. Matt Semino, 5759, says, haven't been this excited for a Jets season in quite a few years, and this channel has played a big role in my excitement. I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody that's coming on board, starting to get more and more excited for the 2025 green and white. Sharon McLean, always out there. Big shout out to Sharon, a true regular here on Jets Latest. We appreciate all the comments, all the interaction. Says Arian Smith and Brandon Smith both look better than Malachi Corley. Damn, I like the name Malachi Corley. Too bad we may not be hearing it much longer. And yeah, even in a practice when they were doing the tackling drill in practice yesterday or 2 days ago, Corley fumbled again, right? So we are hearing about Brandon Smith coming on a little bit. We are hearing that Malachi Corley is not having a great training camp, so maybe he will not be this Yak King role that we're talking about. That wide receiver room is definitely something to watch. Obviously, Garrett Wilson, Reynolds, Arian Smith. You're going to have guys like Tyler Johnson, Alan Lazard, and then maybe instead of Corley, it's more guys like Xavier Gibson, more guys like Brandon Smith. So that bears watching as you're seeing news and notes from training camp. And then Linus, 8173, our friend from all the way across the pond in Germany, says, bro, thanks for the shout out. You're international now, brother. I'll be watching your breakdowns. You can bank on that. We give it up. We appreciate everybody, whether you're in California, Texas, Iowa, the East Coast, or international. Come on in, tell a friend to tell a friend, because I still think this is going to be a very good 2025 season for the green and white. And even if we don't win 12 or 13 games, the arrow will be pointing up, and people will realize that the Glennaissance, shout out to Sharon McLean, is underway. And part of that, like I said here today, is because of the pride Aaron Glenn is bringing towards being a Jet, what it means to be a Jet, what it looks like to be a Jet, and having Jets greats of the past kind of be there overseeing it all, kind of putting that culture and putting that legacy, that history for this organization on what is, remember, the second youngest roster in the NFL. But if you want to hear more from me, like I say all the time, it is fantasy football draft season. I am the host of the FTN Fantasy Show on SiriusXM, channel 87. You can always catch me there. You could always hit me up in the comments, ask me fantasy questions as well. You can hit me up on social media, Twitter X, at Spittin' Speeds. I'm always here to help you win your leagues and win that cash. And FTN is a great website with so many tools, data, and content out there for you to be a better fantasy player and a better sports better. We'll be back later on, probably tomorrow, talking more about what we're seeing at training camp as we get ready for preseason game number 1 against the Green Bay Packers this weekend, all right? So keep it locked here. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll be back tomorrow. But for now, we out of here. Peace.